Season 2. Today we have a matchup for you in Division 4, Group B, the very first matchup of the season between Htown40 and Deep-thot. Since this is the first week, there's not a lot of stats to look at, but Calamity, can you tell us a little bit about these two competitors?
Of course. Htown40 is a newcomer to the Reddit League. He's placed 17th in the preseason out of 18 people, so maybe not at the top of the board, but we'll see what he can do. He's played 500 games so far on his GeoGuessr account since November 2018. I personally haven't really seen him around much, which is not unusual, I guess, considering his play count. But I know he's played the co-op tournament that Radox hosted a couple of months ago, where he competed with Patriots FTW, who's also another newcomer to Division 4. And Deep-thot is a returning player who's also been in Season 1. And he was in Division 3 alongside me. And just to give you an indication of how close his relegation was, he lost his last game in Season 1 by 600 points, and I won mine by 900 points. If either of those games had gone the other way, he would have stayed in Division 3 instead of me. So he got quite unlucky there.
Yeah, quite unlucky. But he is, since a newcomer to Division 4, having been relegated. But I think he's got a pretty good chance of going back up.
I agree, yeah.
This is kind of a rough first week for Htown, a baptism by fire, so to speak, facing off against a former Division 3 player. So for week 1, they are playing in North Macedonia, the map created by Topotic, the winner of Season 1 Reddit League. It is a very difficult map given the size of the country, with an average score of only 8,801 points. But it does have over 1,000 locations. So, without further ado, let us get into this matchup.
Something to add on to that quickly regarding the map. North Macedonia has limited street view coverage, meaning that only the major roads are covered. That is, of course, something that might help you out if you know about it beforehand, rather than having to look throughout the whole country for small roads and stuff like that.
Indeed. So as we get into this round, Division 4 has a 4.5-minute timer for each round, so a little bit generous to our players. Both of them have seen quite a few city signs. We're outside of a town. So yeah, any initial thoughts, Calamity?
Most of the town name... Oh, there we go. Deep-thot has just seen the town of Arachinovo, and he seems to be fully aware of where it is, which is not surprising considering it pops up a lot if you practice the map a couple of times.
Yeah, indeed. I think I've been in this town like 3 or 4 times.
I think I've been in it 4 times as well, yeah.
Yeah, definitely showing off his former Division 3 pedigree right at the beginning here. He looks like he's already settling in with 3 minutes to go still on pinpointing his exact location. But Htown, not too far off.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. That's not really the right part of the country. But no, yeah, that goes to show again just how important it is to practice a lot, because you notice things like small cities are like appearing more often.
Maybe I thought he was zoomed into a different part of the country.
Yeah, maybe. He was zoomed into the southeast, I think.
Oh, he was southeast? Okay, that's not the right part. Oh, and yes, Deep-thot already guessing quite early on, but 4,991 points. Not a bad score. Maybe he should have used those remaining few minutes to try to get that ace, but too late now.
These sort of very light curves are kind of difficult to pinpoint a lot of the times, because it's often difficult to tell comparing the actual street view you see and the map, of whether a curve is just turning slightly, where exactly you are in that curve. So yeah, even if he had used those 2 minutes, he might not have been able to pinpoint it exactly.
Yeah, there's been a few times I wish there was like elevation lines on Google Maps because I was like, it's a steep hill, but it's all flat. You know, when you zoom in that far, I'm like, is this a hill or not? Or that I do remember this because I'm also in Division 4. I remember this location because of the weird intersection you start off close to. It's not like a T cross. It's like a road like bumps into a road and then leaves again. So I remember using that as a bit of a kind of a landmark, trying to judge where exactly I was. Kind of a unique location.
Htown has seen signs for Skopje, but the problem in North Macedonia is that you find signs for Skopje everywhere, regardless of where you are in the country.
Indeed, all roads seem to lead to Skopje for sure, given it's the capital.
He's still kind of far away. He's moving closer, but he's
slowly but surely.
He's gonna need some more information, I think.
Now, if I remember correctly, 4.5 minutes is longer than the preseason timer of 4 minutes for most of those games. So he'll be used to working with this time, at least. But whether or not he'll be used to such a small country is another thing.
Yeah, this is something that you usually don't tend to play in like on your own time. Most people I know play either world maps or sort of the countries they're from, maybe. Like US people playing US maps, British people playing the UK maps, stuff like that. But not a lot of people are probably playing North Macedonia in their free time.
Yeah, not the most popular choice. So he has guessed with pretty much no time left, and unfortunately that's a score of 713, quite a ways off from the location. Yeah, so a great start by Deep-thot. Not quite the start he was hoping for, though, for Htown40. Yeah, any thoughts on that first round, Calamity?
Yeah, it's always kind of difficult in such small nations when you have signs to bigger cities, because it can be very tough to judge, like on which highway are you now, how far away are these cities if you don't have any kilometer markers or kilometer signs. And I've had trouble as well personally when you get like signs to 3 big cities in completely opposite directions around you and you've got no idea where exactly you are right now.
Yeah, especially what I noticed that sometimes these North Macedonian roads will have like the big city mark, but there won't be distances often. The distances are only for the very near cities, which are hard to pinpoint. But even though if something like a 500 kilometer away or something would be a little bit nice, but you don't see that too often.
I think the whole country isn't 500 kilometers in. Like...
Showing my my North American ignorance to kilometers. I've lived in Japan for a few years now, but I still don't quite know long distances in kilometers.
I think it's about 450 to 500 kilometers from north to south of North Macedonia. So, yeah.
It wouldn't do you much good in this map, at least. Okay, well, before I make more of a fool of myself, let's get into round number 2. Here we go. More mountainous region this time.
Even if you wouldn't expect it, all of these are major roads in North Macedonia.
Yeah, some look like major roads, some do not, but they all are major thoroughfares through the country.
I think they've actually gone in opposite directions this time, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, Htown is moving south and Deep-thot moving towards the north. I do remember this location as well. You start off what looks to be in the mountains, but then if you move any distance, you kind of reveal that you're on a very wooded hill, and you're actually in one of the lower lying areas of the country, which annoyed me in my practice rounds, but I got used to.
Yeah.
But Htown does seem to have found a city.
I couldn't quite... Oh, he's in Peščevo. I remember this view.
And he knows where this town is, though. So very good for him for a second round. No two bad guesses in a row.
So to the viewers here, if you've seen our coverage of the Division 1 match between Schludi and Compilu, you will perhaps recognize this location as well, because this is exactly where they started one of their rounds.
I think a little bit further north, but yes, practically the same location.
Like 50 meters further north, of where
and
Htown is
there's
right
one
now.
of those municipality signs, a great clue you can find in North Macedonia. Unfortunately, looks like Deep-thot doesn't know where this one is.
He's still got almost 3 minutes though, so you would think that he's going to find it, considering North Macedonia isn't that big of a country, and the city of Peščevo is decently big enough.
Yeah, when people wonder what's the difference between these different divisions, they're all playing the same map. So how can you say one player is like significantly better or something? It largely comes down to time, right? If you can get really good scores with 5 minutes, that's really good. But can you do it with 4 minutes? Can you do it with 3 minutes? And that added pressure really kind of can help differentiate between good players and phenomenal players, which is how the divisions are spaced out.
You might not think of it as that much of a difference whether you have like 4 minutes 30 or 4 minutes, but it can really make a big difference. Not so much for every single location you have, but if you've got that one location where you might need those 30 seconds more, that's usually enough to give you a loss in a higher division if you can't find one of the 5 locations.
Looks like Htown is spending his time trying to pinpoint the starting location. He just goes back to it. Deep-thot, though, a little bit more vague in his points. I think he's found the border to the municipality while we were talking, but he has not yet. Oh, he is. He's put us a little bit south, actually.
He's actually close. Oh, no, he's not. Both of them. I think Htown actually mixed up his directions a bit because he put himself south of Peščevo when he actually went south to get there. But he should realize that, he's now fixing his error.
Yeah, so since we played the preseason, I got really used to that 4-minute timer. And my first round in this league at 4.5 it felt like I had an extra minute to just kind of twiddle my thumbs a bit and be like, oh yeah, well, I can maybe try to get an extra point or two with my location. And in a head-to-head, man, every point counts. So that time really does factor in quite a bit. But with about 10 seconds left for both of our players, they both seem to be relatively close to where we are. Oh no, looks like Deep-thot's still a little bit too far north. He's working his way south, but
south now, yeah.
Oh, we have a guess by Htown 4,979. More like it. He'll be happy with that. Oh, and Deep-thot has guessed, and he was still left himself way far north. 3,958 points for him.
This again goes back to how difficult it is to get used to the distances. If you play a map, you're not usually if you usually play a world map, you're used to travel much smaller distances on the map comparatively. Whereas in North Macedonia, if you travel 20, 30 kilometers, you're in a completely different part of where you started.
Yeah, so it looks like Deep-thot, thinking he was further north because of how quickly he reached that municipality border. But as you said, the scale of the map is very different. So he actually traveled quite a distance and didn't quite calculate for that. So that'll cost him about 1,000 points against his opponent. But he has a pretty significant lead from the first round, so it shouldn't be too bad for him.
Nothing to worry about yet.
Not yet, and only round 2 as well.
Still more than enough room to make more mistakes.
Yep. Yeah, certainly a chance for a comeback, but also a chance to make an even bigger mistake. But he does have, looks like going into round 3, almost 3,300 point lead over his opponent. So not too bad. Deep-thot they're looking at a phone number, which isn't too helpful in a country the size of North Macedonia.
Yeah, I don't even know if they have something like area codes in North Macedonia.
Yeah, it might be the whole country might be only 2 or 3 of them. Not too helpful, but he has found a very nice sign. He will zoom in to try to pinpoint his location. And Htown as well finding a good sign. Now, what was confusing for me in this round was why one sign is in blue.
I think it's distance-based. I'm not sure about that, but I think blue generally signifies towns that are further away, and yellow are closer towns.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't remember in many of my practice rounds seeing a mixed sign like that. So it did cause me a little bit of pause, but the sign with the town turnoff distance was probably the most helpful bit of information for me there. Let's see if it proves the same for these players. Yeah, and that overpass with these cities is really going to help you pinpoint that location.
But then you get back to the usual problem that you often encounter in North Macedonia. They start on a long straight, and this is not easy to pinpoint.
Yes, I do remember that. One round I didn't do too well, and it might have been this one. I might have misjudged where exactly on the long straight I was. I'd have to go back and look at my own score. I don't remember, but you were saying?
I think Deep-thot's already in the right location. He's just, trying to pinpoint exactly now and trying to make sense of how far this street goes west and how far it goes east before it makes a turn.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you're watching GeoGuessr as a viewer, the player probably knows more information than they've done on their map. Often, sometimes players will gather lots of information and then with very little time make a very accurate guess. And you might think, well, how did he do that? He didn't do anything for 4 minutes and then he got it. But just they don't always move their marker the minute they know new bit of information. Sometimes they kind of wait till they have a significant amount of information before they make their actual official guess.
Yeah, you'd be wasting a lot of time if you were fixing your marker every 2 seconds. That time could be spent much better just trying to search for more information.
Yeah, indeed. And yes, it looks like they're both trying to, as you said, count the steps along the way on that long straight. They're going back and forth like mice stuck in a corner trying to figure out exactly where they are. And it looks like Deep-thot is doing your trick. It looks like he's clicking arrow by arrow, trying to figure out exactly where he is.
I think he's going to find out that he's roughly in the middle of that long road.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, being exactly in the middle is nice because, you don't have to do much guessing on how far you have to place it either way. It's better than being like 2/3 down the way.
Yeah, to guess. Oh, and he will get his guess. He'll get an ace. Very nice. He'll be happy with himself and a very quick guess. Moving us on to the next round. Let me actually try to jump us back a few seconds. There we go. An ace for Deep-thot. That's our second ace of the games we've watched, at least, in this Reddit League. But Htown not too far off with 4,963. Yeah. A very nice round by both players. Okay, so let me get us set up for round 4. Yeah, but with an ace, doesn't leave a lot of room for Htown to make up points. So
he's gonna have to hope that Deep-thot makes a mistake in one of the last 2 rounds if he wants to come back.
And this location for round 4 is one of my favorite in the sense that on a world map, you would immediately know where you are. A big flag of North Macedonia, but then in North Macedonia, trip over that how many times, doesn't give you anything. So, yeah.
The one thing that's nice is that they start off right next to a house that is marked on the map. So they shouldn't have too much trouble pinpointing once they do find good information.
Yeah, they are moving in opposite directions, though. Deep-thot moving north, finding a service station, while Htown moving south, and he has found a very nice, well, very dilapidated road sign, but a road sign nonetheless.
These are also always frustrating to find when you think that there's got to be good information on that sign, but one, I can't read it, and two, the most important city, which is probably at the top, is blurred out.
Yes. Even worse sign. But Deep-thot has found a very nice clear sign. It'll let him know roughly where we are. Which, if I believe, is in the sort of southern part of the country.
If you look at the sign again, once he closes his map, you'll notice that it says Skopje and Prilep. Both of them are big cities, but because Skopje is written at the top and Prilep is below it, you're closer to Prilep. Because the towns that are closer to you are written further down in North Macedonia.
Yeah. Countries are a little bit unique in that they don't always order their signs in the same way. So it is a good bit of intel to have, knowing whether or not the country you're in puts the furthest city first or last on a list.
Yeah, and there's no clear better way, in my opinion. Like there's arguments to be made about both placing bigger cities at the top or at the bottom.
Htown going back to the start and going the other direction. Not a bad move by him. Try to gather more information. I do think the better information is north of the location. So, and Deep-thot already having moved that way has gleaned most of it. And
he's also moved back to the start now to try and get the last remaining meters or kilometers right. I think he's actually found it. Like what he's looking at right now is the correct location. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, if I remember my own guess, I actually clicked us on the wrong road, which cost me a few points.
I did the same.
Because I was like, just didn't quite do my due diligence. And luckily it didn't cost me too much, but I was kicking myself a bit when that happened.
Yeah, same. I was kind of a brain dead move to put it on the southern road, but I guess I just wasn't paying that much attention anymore at the end.
Yeah, and Htown has seen that sign, which will let him know he had his marker in the wrong part of the country. So he'll move closer to Prilep and hopefully get some points in this round. We have about 40 seconds rather to go. Deep-thot definitely getting into the weeds, trying to count clicks and line up those houses.
If he'd zoom in a little bit further, he'd see the house on the map, but he's a bit too far zoomed out for that at the moment.
And Htown as well, homing in on that location. Ooh, very close. Oh, you click so fast. There we go. Give me some time, please. 4993 for Deep-thot. Almost an ace. 32 meters off. Little rough. Only 1 kilometer off for Htown on his guess. But again, that's the small map. Will only earn him 4,688 points.
I need to correct myself on what I said earlier. It is, of course, the southern road. That's the right location. I put myself on the northern road when I guessed.
I believe the northern road isn't even covered. Only the A roads are covered in North Macedonia. So.
You do have some R roads that are covered, but that one in particular isn't, no.
Okay, maybe it's the ones really close to the cities that are covered.
Could be.
And with that, let us get into the final round. A lot to ask for Htown. Deep-thot not giving him any quarter. No real chance to get back into this. Going into the final round, he's down by 3,600. Oh, 599 points.
Nice. You got it.
You're going to do that to me? So yeah, very close with that. But yeah, that's especially being in a town, that's a big ask for Htown for asking Deep-thot to drop those points.
Although the thing is, in North Macedonia, especially from what I've seen so far from other people playing it as well, the big towns actually are more difficult to get correct than those rounds on the highways, because you usually get less signs in the big towns telling you where you are.
Indeed. Yeah, sometimes the outskirts of towns are the best, because when you're leaving town, you get all those signs. Oh, the next town is here, you're on this road. But in town can often be a little dearth of information. But Htown has found himself a bit of luck. He has gotten on the main highway. This is what saved it for me. Getting on the main highway and all that information you can glean.
I think I did when I played that round. I didn't go onto the highway, but I did go towards the edge of the town and found some signs there.
Okay.
The problem is always, like, if you go into the highway, sure, you're going to find more signs to towns that are, like, further away. But do they help you figure out the town you're actually in?
The big question. I don't know if Deep-thot has recognized it yet or not, but he did see a sign with Htown40 on it. So he certainly has. He knows where we are.
He has, yep.
There we go. It doesn't look like... Oh, Htown has found a different city quite a ways away. Fortunately, way south.
Something that could help you there as well is the location Htown has placed it right now is not covered. Anything west of the road he's looking at right now has no street view.
Yeah, only that A2, I believe, and that E65 is covered in the street view. Oh, there's a very nice road sign for a turnoff for Htown40, so that should give him a big clue with about 2 minutes left that he is closer to that big city. And it looks like Deep-thot now really getting into the roads, trying to find that exact spawn location. Htown going to see the town or not. He zoomed way too far in. I think he believes he's close to that road, but he should know we started in a city. We're not that far away.
I think his problem is that he saw the sign that's 40 kilometers to that small town he's found, and he's having trouble estimating the distance as well.
Yeah, this small map scale really coming to haunt him a bit.
Yeah, and Deep-thot is just doing last minute sort of pinpointing here. He's probably not gonna drop as many points as Htown needs him to.
And Htown leaving town, not exactly what you want to do. You want to stay at least close to it, because that's where most of the information is going to be. Not the best maneuver by him.
I think Htown must have not recognized Htown40 as a big city, because otherwise surely he would have found it or looked for it already.
Yeah, and it really looks like, exactly as you said, Calamity, he is way honed in on that city he did find, and really misjudging the distance.
I think the distance he's away from the city currently is about 5 kilometers, and he's supposed to be 40 kilometers away. Maybe even further, because he was already some way out of the city when he found that sign.
Indeed, so quite a distance. It looks like he's actually looking towards the southern town, which is not where he is. He moved south, which means he needs to go north. He's making a mistake that I often make, which I move the same direction as I went, not the opposite, right? Like, oh, if you go south, that means you started north, which can kind of be a little counterintuitive if your brain isn't used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
it has cost me a few points many a time. But they both have guessed. Yeah, Deep-thot not leaving any room for Htown to make that comeback with 4,709 points in the round. Htown with only 1,208 points. Definitely not the first game he was probably hoping for when he started. We move on to their final scores. So close to the end of the video, I don't know if I can jump ahead. I don't know. There's the view summary. Deep-thot with a total of 23,651 points. A very, very good first game from him. That's exactly what he wants if he expects to try to go back for promotion this season. 16,551 for the newcomer Htown. Calamity, is he going to be happy with that?
I'm not entirely sure if he is going to be happy with that. I mean, he lost, so of course he's not going to be happy with the result. The score itself isn't too bad. I think he's probably not going to be happy with the last round. There wasn't too much he did wrong in round 1 that he could blame himself for, other than probably not knowing Arachinovo. I'm just wondering if, based on how he did and based on how long it took him to find stuff, if he just didn't practice all that much.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was particularly familiar with the map like Deep-thot was. But, you know, as a newcomer going up against someone who just got relegated into the division, a very rough first week to kind of get yourself used to Reddit League. But, folks, even in Division 4, these games are going to be very competitive. These players are going to be putting up very, very good numbers, as you can see by Deep-thot, almost 24,000 points. So just because we're in Division 4 doesn't mean these players are not going to be showing us some amazing GeoGuessr skill.
I think it's mostly just going to be that the people in Division 4 are a lot more inconsistent with their plays, and that they often maybe just don't find one of the rounds, and that's the main reason why they're not in a higher division. But
yeah,
they're still
5
very
out of
skilled
5
players,
is kind of what you need to do.
And
also the time limit, right? Having that extra minute or two can be a big deal. So great. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Before we head on out, let's take a look at who these two will be playing next week. Calamity?
Yep. Htown40 will be playing against that one weird girl who might be our only female participant in the league. I'm not sure about that. If there is anyone watching this who is female and playing in the league, correct me, please. She was 10th in Division 4 last year, so she does have some experience. Got 10 points during the season. So yeah, probably a match more on his level. It could be a close one for sure. And Deep-thot is going to play against Ed Boris, who he's quite active on the GeoGuessr Discord. I've not seen him play too many of the challenges, but from what I've seen so far, he seems to be quite good as well. So that, again, could be a very exciting and close match, especially because I don't know if he's born in Brazil or if he's got some connection to Brazil, Ed Boris. So considering they're going to be playing Brazil next week, definitely one match to look out for.
He's Chilean, I believe.
He's got the Zambian flag. I can tell you that much.
Oh, is that? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Zambia.
Yeah, you're thinking of someone else.
I'm thinking of someone else. Okay, never mind. But no, I do know that Ed is a player who will definitely put in the practice time. So he will not be a pushover for Deep-thot. So Deep-thot should not rest on his laurels at all against his next opponent. And yeah, I think Htown will be looking to put up a much stronger performance next week against maybe a competitor more in his wheelhouse that he has a chance with. That'll do it for us this week. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.